It's time for another off track. And today it's not going to be wine, fortified, distilled. It's going to be Sazerac Rye, 6-year-old rye whiskey, 45% alcohol. Now this is produced by the Sazerac Company of Metairie, Louisiana, but that's their administrative headquarters, and that is where they started in New Orleans. Metairie is a suburb of New Orleans, to the west of the city of New Orleans. And this company, the Sazerac Company, their history goes back to the 1830s in New Orleans with the apothecary drugstore owned by Mr. Peychaud, and he came up with America's first cocktail, the Sazerac, which used, at that time, absinthe. And absinthe is not a legal product anymore, sort of like paregoric. Not in America. You may be able to get absinthe in other places in the world. A friend of mine who lives in New Orleans gave this to me yesterday. Thank you, Sonia. And as I was over at her house uptown, and I said, the Sazerac Company, I know about them. And she said, oh, you can have that? I said, I didn't want it. I wasn't saying that so you could give it to me. I was just saying because I knew of the company. Oh no, I guess she doesn't like rye whiskey, so she was saying, you can have, I'll peel this off later. You can have it. I said, okay, now this is the 6-year. There's an 18-year version. This is the 6-year. But their distilleries are in Kentucky, all right? And you may be familiar with some of their brands, Thomas Handy, Buffalo Trace. They make some, low-end stuff that bars and lounges use, like Crown Rust vodka. I've seen some pretty well-heeled places in New Orleans using Crown Rust for their mixed drinks, their highballs, and Taka vodka. Okay, I've seen them, but the Crown Rust is the really cheap one, and I've seen places using that. And they also have the high-end market with, and this is the largest distilling, from what I can understand in my research, the largest distillery company in America. It's family owned still. They also produce the Pappy Van Winkle bourbon, which apparently is like really hard to find and very expensive. So they do the high and the middle and the low. All right, so now you might say, what makes you, you're saying this to me, what makes you qualified to review rye whiskey? The same as what makes me qualified to do beer reviews, really nothing except just to do it. Jimmy Bedford glass. Jimmy Bedford, Jack Daniel Distillery, Master Distiller, 1988 to present. That's what this glass says. They're saying on the website that it's going to have vanilla, anise, they list all these different spices and the flavor, and it's going to be very smooth. I've had rye beers. Don't recall having a rye whiskey. Haven't had too many whiskeys in my whole life. Did a little, danced around a little bit with brandy and, the sherries. And I might get back to sherry and especially brandy with some upcoming off tracks and the fortified wines and those, and the vermouth and those type of things. But let's see, they're saying it's pretty good stuff. So you probably know more about whiskey than I do. And you might know about the Sazerac Company, owned by the Riley family. And there's also Riley Foods in New Orleans, which you may be familiar with. Louisiana Coffee and Tea, New England Coffee brand, Blue Plate mayonnaise, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Swan's Down flour. It is, it does have that rye, and they were saying, I'm talking about pepper. It does have, rye has that pepper component. Maybe, the vanilla, So it's very rich, beautiful aroma. Like I said, my whiskey experience is minimal, but it's kind of like I look at these beer groups on Facebook, the big social media site, and music appreciation groups, and I don't like the vibe that I get from a lot of those often because you'll see people that are new into the hobby, like music or beer, and they'll post something about a music group, and then immediately here come the nattering nabobs of negativism, and they're ripping those people up. What? That beer's no good. You're an idiot. Or, talking about the band they like. What? Rolling my eyes. LOL. You need to take that Aerosmith and walk it down the road. This is not going to work on this erudite music appreciation site. I think that's a problem with, you get some insecure people that run that, and so they want to, they'll be powerful, powerful. I'm powerful on the internet. And I'm looking at the music sites, and they're like, there's a vibe of an implied threat that if you don't go along with the program, you're just going to find yourself banned from the site. I'm thinking, wow, there's a lot of like disturbed thinking with that. But my approach would be to say, okay, well, let's look at all these different music groups and these different beers and try to appreciate it. Maybe we can discuss it and you can feel included. But back to this. All of those things, the vanilla, the I think they say caramel, anise, the pepperiness is there. It's subtle. It is smooth. Oh, it'll probably take me 10 years to drink this. I'm not someone who gravitates towards spirits, but I know a lot of the beer review guys are big into hard liquor as a hobby and as a life problem maybe, but whatever, they're enthusiastic about it either way. Yeah, I don't know where this is slotted in the price point, if it's high, middle, or low. I really don't know. Seems fine to me. It does have a kind of a strong vanilla back note or back flavor. It starts to come in, the vanilla starts to develop. Naturally, you get a warming sensation from 45% alcohol. I think this will do me on this little bit here, so I would give it based on nothing, just on, neophyte ability, I would give it a very high rating, not a letter rating. I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that with spirits or wine, but a high rating, I would recommend it. So, thank you for watching this video production.